are live in effect. I am tremendously pumped up for tonight's show because we got another good one for you guys. So, hey, if you're joining us for the very first time, I am your host, Coach Terrence Wood. This is the Locker Room Show. The gentleman that you see to the far right, that is my boy that holds me down every single Thursday, and that is none other than Q the Guru. What's going on, Guru?
What's going on, Coach Will? We got another great show, another week. Let's break this huddle, man, and get at it. We got a lot of sauce to dish out, man. So let's get this huddle, bro.
There you go. There you go. So I'm not going to waste your time. You heard the guru. We got to listen to the guru. So I'm going to get straight to it, you guys. We have an amazing show for you tonight. Every Thursday, we bring you the sauce. If you are in the football industry or you want to learn more about it, you're in the right place. So guess what? Tonight, we've got an NCAA head coach that has decided to come behind the locker room doors with us. This is Coach Catanzaro. He is the head coach at Lake Forest College. This is a big-time school. They're playing big-time football, you guys, and we're going to get into it. He's actually looking at some of our very own athletes as potential recruits. So we're excited to have Coach Cat with us. What's going on, Coach?
Hey, fellas, appreciate you having me on. Excited to be here. This is an absolute treat. Love getting a little bit of West Coast vibe in my life, and so bringing that, sending some of that good weather back out here to Chicago and make it real easy for me, will you?
Oh, yeah, this
there
shot.
You go. There you go.
Hard.
So, hey, you heard Coach. I'm excited to get into this because we've got a lot to share with you guys. So once again, you guys, this is a Division III head coach, Coach Catanzaro. He is doing big things at Lake Forest College, you guys. They've already won conference titles. He's already been Conference Coach of the Year. They're cranking them out there. They're recruiting across the country, looking for the right ones, and we're excited to talk about what Lake Forest College has to offer. So let's get right into it, you guys. Coach Cat, I mean, you've been coaching for a while, and obviously, I call them lifers. Your wife is a coach, and you guys are just down for the fight. And I wanted to ask you, after years of coaching, how do you keep the passion? What still drives you today to put your best foot forward?
Yeah, if you were to ask my players, they tell you it'd be an IV of caffeine of some different kind. But the reality is that's just the outside source. The intrinsic is kind of two things. I've got a debt that I can't pay, and that's both in my faith life and in my football life. I got a Savior that gave me grace when he need to, and then I got a bunch of coaches who mentored me when they didn't have to, and they loved me and they helped make me who I am. And so my efforts to try and bring honor to what they've done for me is to live this coaching life. And help young men that need that opportunity. Because I was one of those guys. I was a first-generation college student, had a chance to go and play football far away from home, halfway across the country, and learn a lot about myself while I was there. And there were coaches at the high school level that encouraged me to do that and helped me so I could, and coaches at the collegiate level that grew me. And so now I'm trying to do that for others. And then the other part is I still like innovation in those aha moments. And it's every week, when you're game planning, there's that moment where, we got them. We're going to call this play. We got them.
Right.
And we those moments they get me kind of fired up for that competition piece. And I can't dunk anymore and I can't tackle anybody anymore. But I can watch film and call a play with the best of them. I'm beating the Ask Madden mode. That's not a problem.
I don't know, Coach. I think you still got one series left in you, man. I always said it. I don't care how old you are. Everybody got one series in them, boy. I'm telling you.
Hey, as long as it's a 3 and out, I'm good. But they get that 12-play drive, I'm out.
Hey, you got one, though.
That's right. I might got 3. I might have 3.
We're going to get into that because Coach was a heck of a player, actually all conference on both sides of the ball.
Crazy.
So, Coach, I appreciate you sharing that. And it's good to see, it's refreshing to see coaches that are still passionate and energetic, and it's not all about a dollar, so thank you for sharing that, and I'm sure that comes across with some of the athletes. We're on to our next topic, you guys, and if you're joining us for the first time, before you go pro, the Locker Room Show, we put all the topics on the bottom ticker, so you guys know exactly what we're about to get into, and I was very fascinated to find out that you just mentioned your faith, and AFCA is so huge in the football industry and community. And you have recently been inducted to be on the committee and become the third vice president for the AFCA, Coach. So I wanted to ask you, what does that honor mean to you? When you sit back and think about that, because there's so many coaches across the country, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, and it's really special for me because there's a coach from each one of the BCS conferences on there. Then there's a coach from some of the 1AAs, but there's only 2 Division III coaches selected every year. And what a lot of people don't know is Division III has the most schools. We got 250 colleges playing football in Division III. So to be selected by my peers for that, to kind of carry the mantle, that was a huge, huge thing for me. To be in those rooms, to be on the Sports Science Institute committee, the Concussion Data Task Force, and represent the Division III model, which is very different than the Division I model, but it's still great football. To have that opportunity to serve as an advocate for the players and the coaches of our level, huge. And to be honest with you, I kind of look at us as, we are truly trustee members, on that board of trustee where we are entrusted with the development of our football programs, to development with the game of football to keep it safe and make sure that it's still here 100 years from now for other generations to keep playing, because there's certain things that are going on in football that weren't sustainable in the 80s that if they were still going on now, we wouldn't have a game. And, there's things probably going on right now that we all think are not really sustainable. It'll affect the game down the road and make it not available for other people. So, we really want to protect that. I take that very, very seriously.
Wow, Coach, and yeah, congratulations. Obviously, they see the value in having you on the board, and it speaks volumes. So appreciate you sharing that. We've got some people joining us. Big Jimmy's already with us. 250 D3s. Yeah, Jimmy, there's a lot of opportunity. Lot of opportunity. And then talking of opportunity, this is one of our young superstars right here, Sadike Green Jr., cornerback. Hey, the one that you definitely want to take a look at, Coach. And thank you for joining us, Sadike. I appreciate you coming on. We got a college coach, head coach right here for you. So let's get into our next topic, you guys. And I mean, speaking of all the change in the industry, and, we'll start off with you, Guru. I mean, we've talked about this week in, week out, the transfer portal, but we haven't really dialed into, man, I know we have offline, but we haven't really dialed into what are the kids that are supposed to be, who are the kids that are supposed to be in the portal? Because obviously it's meant to serve somebody. So in your opinion, Guru, when you really think about the transfer portal,
right,
who would you say is thumbs up going to the transfer portal?
I would say, like you said, Coach, we've talked about this, man. We talked about this earlier today. We talk about it a couple times a week, every week, right? Because it's an ongoing, important topic. I would say the kids that would legitimately need to maybe try the portal option would be kids that have actually bought into the program. Okay, they're giving it their all, but they're just not seeing any playing time, and their clock is ticking. You know what I'm saying? And but we're seeing,
so you're talking maybe a junior or a senior.
Yeah, something of that nature. Right.
Okay.
But you're seeing freshmen that are just barely getting a taste of college football. And because they're not coming in and starting right off the bat over an upperclassman, they're leaving. Like I said, Coach, we were just talking about this today. We're talking about football, other than maybe hockey or boxing, as far as, bodily injury. We have to be honest, in a lot of cases, is likely in a lot of cases. It's a high ballistic sport, full contact. So the problem is these kids don't understand you're one play away from being the guy. So when your coach is explaining to you as a freshman or a sophomore, be ready, but he's not telling you that because it sounds good, because it's one play. I literally remember my freshman year, right? And I remember this was the second series of the game. And next thing I know, I'm lining up on Sir Parker playing A&M as a 17-year-old kid, right? Yeah. Be ready. But when a lot of times, and especially it's something about this generation is so talented. But in a lot of cases, mentally, they're a lot more fragile. That's why, and Coach, you may agree, you have to coach them differently. You can't coach this generation like we were coached, like the Lou Holtz and the Bo Schembechlers and the Bobby Bowdens, right? So it has to be that specific situation, man. But otherwise, man, this sport will make a man out of you in a good way, on multiple levels. But don't use that portal as a way out because you're running away from adversity, because you're gonna do it the rest of your life.
Okay, so right there, Guru is saying that some kids are going in the portal too early. Coach, I know that you're dealing with this maybe not like some of the Division I schools, but I know it's a factor that kids leave your school possibly as well. In your mind, who should the transfer portal be available to?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we're kind of lucky. We've only had one guy go into the portal in 5 years. And
Wow.
if you want to tell me something that makes me happier, that and guys staying to graduate, that's pretty good. I don't have to worry about those guys in there very often. But here's what I think about the portal. It is something that it is right for certain people. But the reason many young men are going into the portal is wrong. That lack of commitment to the school, that process to get better, to take the coaching, to develop, they're not going into that college situation with the expectation of developing. And the problem is that's what college is for. Whether it's your academics, your mental side, your maturity, you're supposed to develop. And the same thing with football. And you're not going to be able to jump from program to program to program and develop if you don't spend time going through those off seasons, going through the strength program, going through the whole 365. The difference between one of our young men as a August 10th report date freshman and a May 15th, going into the summer freshman is totally different. They are different human beings in so many ways. And so many guys are making these decisions based on one factor. I didn't get enough playing time against so-and-so or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
They need to make it off of, okay, if I do this, I'm going to show to somebody that I can commit to a process and go beyond what I'm currently at and get better. And I'm willing to fight for that. And that is rewarded by some coaches. Other coaches are like, hey, man, we need to build our roster. I need to win here. I get fired. You got talent. Come here. And is that how that makes this very transactional in the relationship rather than having a chance to be that transformational time at a campus or a college? And if you've got a program that's committed to that as a parent, as a high school student, you should be looking to see why are kids leaving, and it's not just playing time. Somebody might tell you it's playing time, but there's going to be other things. It's the way they were treated, that type of stuff. Now, as for who should go, I really wish that there was some way for the NCAA to get away from this 1-year agreement on scholarships and things like that. For that level, go to a 2-year program with it, where it's a 2-year commitment. Make it have to go through the offseason. Don't enroll into the transfer portal until your second semester, spring or something like that. Have to go through spring ball, learn the whole process. Don't do it. Now they're talking about having this early signing day where they're now worried about kids not playing their senior year of high school. I'm like, so coaches are going to want guys that won't play. It's just different. So I think that the transfer portal, the NCAA is never going to be able to get rid of it. The courts are never going to let them. And the student athletes want it. But I think what we see is that football and basketball are so disproportionately represented in the transfer portal compared to other sports that you have to understand why is it those two sports being, why are we looking at those kids to make decisions to leave and move and bounce around and do different things differently than they see in other sports. And it's not always for riches. There's not always that NLI money. There's not always that, I'm going to boost my draft stock up to the first round or something like that. It's not that. I mean, the number of quarterbacks that are in the transfer portal, it's like, hey, you're probably not going to start as a freshman quarterback unless you're top 3 in the country. And even a lot of those guys didn't start as – you got a guy that wins the Heisman's talking about being the number 1, draft pick, and I don't believe he started as a freshman. So you got to look at these things. Like it might take a year to get there, develop yourself.
Great point. Great point right there, Coach. And we got Great Jimmy saying how Coach been affected. Yeah, and he just said it's not as much. They've only lost one player. So that's great right there. But this is something that you guys will have to consider. Just like Guru said, maybe you get some consultation. Maybe you, like Coach said, give it an off season before you jump right in there. So thank you guys for sharing that. We're on to our next topic, you guys. And once again, we have great Coach Cat with us, Lake Forest College. If you guys have not checked out Lake Forest, It is definitely a beautiful university. You got to check it out. They're doing big time things. When you have someone that has the heart like Coach Cat and cares about his players, it's a school you should check out. So you guys definitely check out the University Lake Forest and get after it, because it looks beautiful from what I'm seeing. So let's get on to our next topic, you guys. And this one caught my attention. I'm sure, Coach Cat, you have to evaluate the assistants that you have on your staff. But unfortunately, Michigan had to let go of a D-line coach who just got the job, Coach Scruggs, and he was driving and impaired and got arrested, and they made a decision to let him go. So I'll give it to you, Coach Cat, first. When you're looking at your staff and maybe something that goes on in their home, something that goes on in the community, sometimes schools let guys stay on staff after they have a mess up. In this case, they let the guy go. What's your policy as far as your staff, and what do you think the rules should be for coaching staffs?
Yeah, I don't want to be the one to cast stones, right? Like, I'm the guy that, I'm going to have faults in my life. And I think there has to be an amount of grace when you're dealing with the human, because you have to take the human away from the employee. And so when you're dealing with that person, you have to talk to them, and your relationship with that person is going to be based on, how long you've known them. What's that relationship? How deep has it gotten? Right. And so that person piece has to be dealt with first. From the professional standpoint, we've got a few things we would not tolerate. That would be one of them. That would have to be one of those situations that if you were charged, now, hey, we're going to let the court system play out unless you come in and say, hey, we did this. I'm not going to be the judge and jury. That's not my job. And, but I do think that you're seeing, if you get a situation like this where it's, a pretty open and closed case, if you will, because of the breathalyzer, I think that a coach would likely remove that coach, because it's really hard to do that. But, or the other part that I've kind of thought, now I don't have the staffing to do this. If I was at that Division I school, one of the things I would like to do is take that coach off the field, keep him in the program, still be able to mentor. My job's still to mentor coaches. Can I take him off the field, put him into an analyst role, some of these other jobs that are being created, get into mentorship after we've proven that this is not going to be a problem, but not have him on the field maybe, and kind of make that the punishment. There's some other things that go with that. Yeah. But I don't want to turn my back on the man. That would be a really hard thing for me to stomach. Now, that's also where during the the recruiting process or the hiring process, you got to know who you're hiring, and you got to make sure that you're really, really good with that. But to me, it's I don't want to turn my back on the man. I want to make sure that we're helping the person, but not at the impact of the program. And again, there are certain things that are just kind of non-negotiable in this world for me. And look, man, we could all get on our phone and get a ride somewhere. That's when we talk to our players all the time. There's an Uber a button away. There is a Lyft a button away. Now, maybe if you're in a rural area, you can't get that, but where we are, there's plenty of them. Right. And the bottom line is they can always call me. I tell them, you call me. I'm like, Mom and Dad, I'll pick you up. I'm not going to ask any questions till the next morning. Then we're going to have a talk about what we got into, but we're going to wait and do it then.
Right.
Let's get you home first.
Right.
There you go. There you go. I love it, Coach. Guru, let me ask you, man, because we've seen athletes get in trouble off the field, and some of them survive, some of them don't. We've seen coaches that have had issues off the field, and some of them have survived, some of them haven't. So what's your tolerance level for, like Coach said, a human being?
No, I mean, Coach, I couldn't have put it verbatim better myself. You can't turn your back on the man. We're all human, but it's one of those things in regards to the image of the program, in regards to being a head coach. All roads always lead back to the head coach, right? And I think it's one of those things where, with this instance in particular, the severity of it, it's one of those things where he definitely wouldn't be able to be on the field. But I do agree that, if there's some other opportunity, through the program where he can, still be a part of that, or use him as a tool to be, basically as a should I say a tool in regards to helping the young man, like, hey, these are the mistakes. Yeah, a resource in regards to, hey, the do's and don'ts, and being able to help them out in that manner, with off the field and how to handle that. Or some type of curriculum that could be built, for off the field and how to handle yourself. Maybe that could be helpful. I feel like if you have situations with assistant coaches and you don't nip it in the bud and you do let it go, you do know what you get, right?
Yep.
You get you get Penn State. That's what you get. Because you got to remember, fellas, Coach Paterno knew everything. Me personally, I don't care what that man said. Coach was around too long. Everything, all roads lead back to him. Just like, remember, Coach, I was telling you with the Lawrence Phillips, Coach Osborne always knew everything. The head coach knows everything. Everything. And for you as a head coach to put that on your shoulders and risk your job as well and your livelihood, that's not going to happen either.
Let me ask you, Coach, is there more tolerance in our game for the athlete over the coach when it comes to off the field?
I think it depends on the success of the program. You know, there are coaches. March Madness is going on right now, okay? And I can think of a couple of coaches who have been on benches, on sidelines for multiple years with probably 5 or 6 plus DWIs, going on radio shows and saying stuff they can't say, and they keep finding places. And again, I don't know that at one time, slip up, I don't know all the details of that, but let's not put ourselves in that spot, man. But I think the players, I would protect a player more than I would protect a coach personally, because that 22-year-old is learning. And it has nothing to do with their talent. I'm a number 115 on the roster, number 1 on the roster are going to get the same treatment when it comes to that. They slip up. We got certain things we're going to talk about. We're going to get through it. We're going to have the same across the board treatment. But Q, one of the things you said, I think one of the things would be awesome if that coach was there, put together that off-field curriculum. What a powerful testimony he has in the front of that room. Yeah. Gentlemen, I lost $1 million.
That part right there, Coach.
Doing this. And I'm here now I'm not saying a GA tough duty, but I'm off the field now doing this, making $70,000 a year instead of $1 million. Yep. And it just, that testimony could be big. Now, would that coach do that? I don't know. But I think that would be a heck of a testimony to mentor that 115 kids in that locker. Because look, 18 to 22-year-old college students, as much as they want to be treated like adults right now with NIL and all this other stuff, they're still boys becoming men. That 18th birthday doesn't fix it. So you got to take a little bit of time and keep teaching them. And I think that would be a heck of a way as we sit here and spitball these ideas. We might need to do this every week during the season next year.
There you go. No, I love it. I love it. Yeah. You guys are, this is why we have the locker room show, you guys. So you guys can come on with us every Thursday and we can talk about things that are going on real time, things that some of you guys may have a coach that you really like that recruited you and unfortunately makes a mistake off the field. And you have no control that he's not coaching you no more. So this is real, you guys, and I appreciate you being candid and honest, Coach. We are on to our next topic, you guys, and once again, we have the great Coach Cat from Lake Forest College. This is on the East Coast, right next to, right in Chicago or right outside of Chicago. And sometimes we don't
call ourselves East Coast out here now. We are not East Coast out here. We are the Midwest. The only coast is Lake Michigan.
There you go. The Midwest. Coach is originally from the East Coast. He's originally from New York, but he's in the Midwest, you guys. Sometimes they practice right where the Bears practice. Beautiful campus.
That's pretty cool.
You guys got to check out Lake Forest College. So we're getting into our next topic, you guys, and this one was definitely interesting as well because it may pertain to your game soon, Coach, but they are thinking about changing the NFL rules to resemble the XFL, where they're moving up the kickoff team. The kicker stays back, but moving up the kickoff team so they don't have as much velocity when they're coming down to cover a kickoff. And obviously, there's been other changes in the game, but this will be one of the most drastic changes. You look at a team like the Packers, they benefited greatly from having kickoff returns the way they've always been. So I want to throw this to you, and we'll start off with you, Q. Where does it stop? I understand, trying to protect everybody, but does the game change so much to a certain extent that 10 years from now, it's a totally different game? Where should the line stop as far as rule changes to protect everybody?
I mean, it's man. I mean, they've made, and like Coach said, there's still changes to be made. Obviously, they've made a ton of changes. Man, I look at highlights and I look at huddles all the time. Versus older tape. In our era, like defensively on those crossing routes. And receivers running free, and a lot has changed. Obviously, in regards to engineering, the equipment, it's changed a lot. It's gotten more durable, and lighter or what have you. But I mean, I don't know about this one, because when I look at this, it's like, well, what about the Devin Hesters and what about the Dante Halls? You know what I'm saying? That are going to the Hall of Fame because of their ability. So it's kind of taken away from the game, because that's an aspect, special teams that often is forgot about, but yet so important. You see what I mean? So it's one of those things where I can't say I agree with that, fellas. That's just football. Like, you can adjust the rules, but in regards to the full that contact, that is what it is. There's really no way around that, because once you start changing the rules and having these kids out there playing, going half speed and having to think, worrying about getting flags, that's where you're going to start seeing really more injuries. Because now you're not out there just reacting and flying around like you normally would. Now you're thinking, well, should I hit this guy like this? So you're worried about, not spearing or whatnot. And now you've hurt yourself because you're worried about, these new penalties in place.
Okay. Well, obviously, there's always going to be rule changes, Coach, and this one isn't a college one, but maybe one day it will be. Do we get to the point where we put flags on the quarterback and you just can't tackle the quarterback? What's your feelings around the rule changes for safety?
As a linebacker from the 90s, I hope we never protect the quarterbacks more than we already are. Here's some of the things I look at. This hip drop tackle that they're looking at, right? The reason that became more of a fad is because we stopped wanting people to tackle with their heads. Q, I'm sure we played about the same time. Every time you learned how to do an angle tackle, was head across the bow, wrap up, and drive, right?
Period.
Guess what? We don't teach that. We never teach that ever again. His head is always behind the body now while we're going into that rugby tackle. Well, the rugby tackle, when not executed all the way to a roll, turns into a hip drop tackle. And so now this is where, the things that came out of the adjustments led to some of these things. And so the kickoff, my feelings about the kickoff. I have a 3-time All-American kick returner on my team come back for his 4th year. I don't want to get rid of kickoffs.
My point exactly, right? That's what I'm saying.
But here's the other part, though. The kickoff context, so about 4 years ago, the Ivy League changed their kickoff where they moved it up 5 extra yards. And they had more concussions the next year than they did the 2 previous years, because now coaches were pop kicking and doing all these other things to try to get possession. Mm-hmm. So someone will figure out a way to manipulate that kickoff scenario there, onside kick or whatever it ends up being, that will create a bigger collision and eventually do that. And if you don't want the big collision, if you don't want the big play on the kickoff, get rid of the play. No other sport has a kickoff, right? Like, you can come up with something else. They get the ball on the 25-yard line. Just give it to them there. That's where the fair catch goes to. So just give the ball. You start every drive on the 25-yard line on kickoff if you don't want to have the play. But don't keep trying to create these innovative new ways that are not really exciting, not really effective, and are changing the game in a way that current play really doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense the way they do it. But if they want to go with it, they got a lot more smart people, a lot more money looking at it than me. And I'll watch it still, because I'm going to watch it either way.
Yeah, Coach, that's a big factor. Go ahead, Q.
I was about to say, Coach, but that's tough. You know what that's like to me, taking away kickoff? That's like watching boxing, but taking away the uppercut.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like, imagine that you watching boxing, it's all jabs, hooks, whatever, but you can't throw any uppercuts, right? But then you go back and look at, like, Mike Tyson, which was one of his best, his best, as far as his uppercuts ever, or Rocky Marciano, all these legends. Like, you just, man, you can't. It's taking away too much of the game now.
And how many guys made their first impression on a coach on the special teams and then they became great players afterwards.
There you go.
No coach is going to have that opportunity, and now you're going to throw more kids in the transfer portal because they didn't get those 10 plays on specials that allowed them to impress people to get more of an opportunity on the field.
That's a great point. Which again, if you guys heard that, if you're a young freshman, he just gave you the sauce of getting on the field. If you were listening, if you didn't hear it, you run this show back when you get an opportunity. When we get that cut up. But if you're a young pup and you're concerned about playing time, right, and you're not getting it, coaches gave you the sauce. Special teams is the key. I promise you, if you go and make plays on special teams, it will speed your opportunity getting snaps. Guaranteed.
Definitely. And this young man right here from the Packers, 782 yards. That's a major factor in their season production, and field position and everything. And that young man, Nixon, made a little name for himself this year with kickoff returns. So, how much do we change the game and we balance out excitement and safety? It's going to be very interesting as we move forward. But
hey, Coach, I'm about to say, you can guarantee the De Jesus family is not trying to hear that at all.
No, they're not trying to hear that. We've got the great Jacob De Jesus with the shout out right there, All-American kick returner for you to be part of before you go pro. Yeah, he doesn't want that. So we are on as we move forward to fan favorite portion of the show, the lightning round. You guys, we're on to the lightning round with Coach. Time. The lightning round is our version, you guys, of a little word association where Coach Cat has 60 seconds. He's got 60 seconds to tell us the first thing that comes to his mind when I rattle off some of the names, some of the either ors on this paper right here. So Coach is going to go through a little blitz. You ready, Coach?
Bring it. I've been waiting for this all day, man.
All right, Coach.
All right.
So ain't nothing but a 2-minute drill, Coach. It's a walk in the park.
So let me get the stopwatch ready for Coach Cat. He said he was a linebacker, but he looks like he can move. So we're going to see how he can move on this lightning round. So let me get the stopwatch ready, and we're going to rock and roll with Coach Cat. You see I got him at zeros there. I'm not going to cheat ahead, Coach. And we've got a great list. So, Coach, first thing that comes to your mind when I rattle it off now, just a hint, one-word answers are the best rule of thumb. One-word answers are the best rule of thumb. And we don't just do this for fun. We actually have a wager on it. Now, we have a high number, and the number's 17. But if you can get to 17 or more, then it's a dinner on the locker room show. Dinner on the locker room show. If you can get to 17 or more. So we got Coach's zeros. Now, Coach, even 16 is good because we give you one for tech delay. So, all right, let's get ready to roll with Coach Cat on the lightning round.
For the Giordano's, here we go.
All right.
You know what it is.
Number one. First thing that comes to your mind, Coach. Greenville University, go.
Ish Smith.
Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers.
Justin Fields.
Keep him.
Barbecue sandwich or barbecue brisket?
Oh, sandwich.
Chicken sandwich, sorry. Joe Burrow.
Goat at LSU.
Brussels or broccoli?
Brussels.
AFCA.
Oh, football leadership.
Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
Derrick Henry.
Don't want to tackle him.
One of your favorite players to coach?
A.J. Jackson.
Baker Mayfield or Jared Goff?
Jared Goff.
J.J. Watt, 50 seconds.
Work out hard.
Ride an elephant or ride a camel?
Elephant.
Kelly Clarkson or Kerry Underwood?
Kerry Underwood.
Time.
We
got Coach right there. That was good. He was rolling.
Yeah, he was cooking.
Rolling.
You count them up,
right.
Coach.
Let's add them up, Coach.
If not, he was damn close. He was cooking, boy.
So let's and it looks easier than it is. So let's go, Coach. We had Greenville, so we're gonna add them up, and then we're gonna revisit as we always do. So we had Greenville University. That's his former college. For number 1, we've got Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, going with Aaron Rodgers. Number 3 was Justin Fields. Number 4, he's going barbecue chicken sandwich. Number 5, he's going Joe Burrows. Number 6, it's Brussels. Number 7, AFCA. He's decorated with AFCA. Number 8, Nike. Number 10 or number 9, Derrick Henry. Number 10, favorite player, or one of his favorite players. Number 11, he's going with Jared Goff. Number 12, he's going J.J. Watt. Number 13, he is riding the elephant. Number 14, he's going Carrie Underwood, and with the tech delay, he's at 15. He's at 15. So real cool, real close. I think it was the favorite player. I think it was the favorite player that sacrificed the second there. But let's revisit. So you're going with Aaron Rodgers over Brett Favre, huh?
Well, he's played less for my beloved New York Jets, but we're going to go with it. But I think that his attention to detail and preparation would have been more enjoyable for me to coach than Brett Favre just going out there and doing all his wild stuff. So I was thinking for my sanity.
There you go. He's thinking as a coach. He's thinking as a coach. Now we're going to Justin Fields. You say you would have kept him, huh, Coach?
Yeah. Bears absolutely should have kept him. I know why they didn't from a salary cap standpoint a year out. But I think with the offense they put together around him now, he's never had the chance to play with what he's got. And I think he would have made that bit. I think it would have been that jump. And his dual threatness, I think is special.
Man, hey, Coach, I can agree with you here real quick. I know we got a couple other ones to touch on too. But, Coach, you one of the few people I've heard say that, man, because imagine that all they had to do was go get Marv. And it's on. That's all they had to do. They had one job. Go get Marv and go to work. They already had everything else in place. Yeah,
I think their problem was they didn't want to pay him a year from now. That a year from now, when he goes off that rookie contract, they weren't going to be able to afford him because of all the other talent they brought in. Yeah. And so now you get a quarterback on the cheap on the rookie contract, and you're still going to get a good one. I mean,
you're going to get a dog. You're probably going to get a dog. So and Coach Jimmy Rucker says, give him 5 for the red suit. And it slides. And I love that too, Jimmy.
I saw that too.
He's looking clean. We got you, Coach, right there. We're not going to leave that out. He says Derrick Henry, he doesn't want to tackle. None of us do on the show. Nike, he's going Nike over Adidas. Now let's go to this one, Coach. One of your favorite players to coach. That's why I said one of, because I didn't want to say your favorite, because I know you're still coaching guys. But you said, what was the young man's name? Ish?
No, A.J. Jackson for the player.
A.J. Jackson. Okay.
So A.J. is that kick returner I was talking about to you, but he's going to be the first player because of COVID and a medical red shirt. He'll be the first player I've ever got to coach for 6 years. So I figure he gets a bit of an advantage on that one. But he is he's a special young man that just loves the game of football, works hard at it. You know, Q, you'll appreciate this. He's a wide receiver, who squats 585 pounds and benches 405.
Yeah, he's a problem. Yeah. Hey, but listen to the name. He didn't sound like he can fly, don't he? He didn't sound like he got wheels, doesn't
he? He is a young man that chose us at age 17 after winning a state championship in Arizona and has fallen in love with it. He's one of those guys that turned down the transfer portal because he had several Division I AA schools, Northern Arizona, a couple other, trying to get to him through coaches and people, and he kept telling them no, they didn't want him out of high school, so he wanted to be where he was loved. We talk about that recruiting all the time. Go where you're going to be celebrated, not tolerated. And he chose us, and he loves it here. So guys who commit to that extra year, bonus years, he picked 2, so I'm giving him that's him right there, number 0. So nice. you give me a chance to coach you for 6 years, you get a little bonus of love from me, I guess.
I love it. I love it right there.
I just hope parents are listening to what you just said. Go where you're celebrated and not where you tolerate. Because people forget the whole key to choosing where you're gonna play on the next level is to get it right the first damn time.
Yes,
that was what we had to do.
People keep forgetting that. Like people so concentrating on the portal and what get it right the first time. You can do that, right?
Q, let me give you the new recruiting picture here from coaches. Come walk on here as a PWO. so you can get practice film when you go in the portal in the spring. Wait, what? That's what we're
Wow.
going with now?
Wow.
Wow.
They're just filling out their roster.
Yep. Because
Wow.
especially in the quarterback position, because all the quarterbacks are going to the portal, they don't have enough arms in the spring, so they're trying to get all these PWOs to come in as quarterbacks and take those reps. So guys got to read through they got to read through them up a little bit.
Wow. Okay.
Woo,
And
man.
then, so we're going on to our next topic, you guys, and that is the audience Q&A. And we are definitely appreciating our time with Coach Cat. And like he said, he's in the Midwest and he's looking for playmakers. So you guys are in the place to be. If you do have a question for Coach Cat, feel free. Our comment chat section is wide open for you, whether it pertains to recruiting, whether it pertains to maybe some of the academic standards that a Lake Forest has. Feel free to put that in the chat section. But Q, I know you had something for us tonight.
Yeah, well, Coach asked me since we've been having all this portal talk. I got a question from you. I know we had checked your background. You're a bona fide killer back in the day for sure, both sides of the ball. But here's the question I got for you. Here's the question that Guru got for you. As much success as you had, both sides of the ball dominate. Say sophomore, junior year, right? Because I know Greenville's in Illinois. Yep. Say the Illini or Northwestern comes calling. What do you do at that same age?
I'll tell you what, it would have been a hard conversation, especially my sophomore year when our whole coaching staff left. So you would have had me in a special place for that one. I would like to think, that the relationships that I had at that point, I can't maybe say my freshman year, but I can definitely say my sophomore year. Mm-hmm. By the time I got to my sophomore year, the relationships I had with my teammates, the relationships I ended up having with my new coaches. Now, I was also a multi-sport guy, so I played basketball too. And so my basketball coach was there, so I would have had a double sport. I had two teams. And so for me, that was really unique. And I tell everybody, I went to a school that was nothing like what I ever thought I was going to college for. I went to a high school that had about 1,600 students. I went to a college that had 800. And it was halfway across the country, and it was just the best place for me at that time. And so for me, I think it was the right fit, and I'd like to think I would have stayed there because I had chances to transfer. Maybe not Division I level, but I know that I had 2 Division III schools out east that they kept calling my coach and saying, "We can't believe he went to school out there. Is there any chance he would come back?" And there was no chance of me coming back. So I at least have that part. So when I say that, it's not just I'm not going to go Division I, but if somebody would have called me with that offer, I would have had to talk it over with my parents and see what was right for us. But the relationships I had by my sophomore year, I don't think I would have left those at that point. I was in downtown Chicago 2 nights ago with my roommate from college. He flew in from Minneapolis for a work day, and we went to dinner. And that still happens. 27 years later, we're still doing that. So
see, man, man. You talking about brothers for life, and it's funny, Coach T, because we talk about this all the time. And matter of fact, and what do you always say every time we have this conversation? You have kids now that will, as a freshman, go into a university, and even if they say they stay for 4 years, by the time they're a senior, they won't know who they're even playing with.
Yep.
They will have a totally different team almost.
It's gonna be more like the pros. The relationship's gonna be as tight.
Yep.
And that's what people forget. That's what the kids forget. That's what the parents forget. That's part of the college experience. It's making connections and making friends, brothers, man, for the rest of your natural life.
It's not trying to get to the NFL. If that happens, awesome. But you got to go to college. You got to get a degree and a skill set and the things that come along with that. But learning how to interact with people and create relationships.
Yep.
And get off your phone and quit looking at Snapchat and go do those other things. Like you have to do that when you're with people.
Right.
And when you don't know the people, you're not going to sacrifice those things to do that. And that's just critical. They got to know that part, that's part of the college reason. I had a conversation with a recruit's dad 2 days ago. And, this guy's a neuroscientist and does research at a university. And, way smarter than me. And here's a guy that says, it doesn't matter where my son goes to school. He's smart enough to go on Google and figure out all the things he needs to figure out about life. But I need him to be out there to go meet people and learn those skills so that he can be a more effective human being. It's not even a piece of paper he's getting. So I thought that was pretty insightful from a guy that's pretty darn smart. Has some really good pieces of paper.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and that's probably why he has it. Before I let you go, Coach, I'd be remiss if I didn't give you an opportunity to just tell us more about the program.
Yeah,
We've got kids that are not familiar with Lake Forest and the beautiful opportunity that it presents. Can you tell us more about maybe what you're looking for in a prospect and maybe more about the program?
I will do that as long as you let me answer Jimmy Rucker's question first that he just put up there. So,
for sure.
See this question right there. So that we get 2 sport guys now. We actually have 14 guys that are playing multiple sports on our team right now.
Man, that's awesome.
Wow.
Man, that's awesome.
We got 3 guys playing lacrosse right now, and we will continue to honor that. We got 1 guy who's going to try to play basketball next year. And so for me, that is something I will always be committed to. And that's why you don't see my son specializing. I think being in multiple sports right now is the best thing that a kid can do, because those are the kids that can grow when they get to college. Whereas the people that are, only in one sport, they get to college, they're really good, but they don't grow a whole lot. And you get them out of their comfort zone of where they were, and that's the only stress that they get. They don't get better at their sport. So, yes, please send me 2 sport guys. I will help them any way we can. The only sport we don't have that kills me sometimes is baseball. But if they want to run track, they want to be on the hoop squad, they want to play ice hockey here or lacrosse or whatever it is, let's go. So I'm all for it.
That's awesome, man.
Love it. I love it. Great.
Lake Forest, the thing I think that there's a couple things, out west where you guys are, there's not a lot of schools like us, where you're 30 miles outside of a small college or a major metropolitan area that you can access by the transit system. You don't have to have a car. But then you also have a school that's really committed to internships in addition to academics. So we're ranked the 13th school in the country for internships by the Princeton Review and the 27th school in the country by the Wall Street Journal for just schools, period. And so we were, MIT and a couple other schools, but we were ahead of Berkeley. We were ahead of all those schools, and we're a school that's nobody ever heard of because we are intentionally our size. We want to keep that 11-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. We want to make sure that we are keeping guys at the forefront of the educational process where they can know their professors. There's no big lecture halls. The biggest classroom we have on campus is 35 students. And so it usually never has more than 25 in it. So you're going to get a very different interaction, a very different relationship. And you're going to be stuck with me because I've been here 18 years and I'm not going anywhere. So I'm not, my resume is not updated from 2007. So we are not going to be putting that one together anytime soon.
I heard
there
that.
You go. I love it. And then as far as what you're looking for, are you still open to recruits, Coach? Are you guys shutting it down? What's going on the recruiting side?
Yeah, uniquely this year we are more open this late in the season than the recruiting season. The delay in the FAFSA has really messed up a lot of kids looking at small schools that are not just getting full football scholarships. And it was on Friday we finally got our first 3 FAFSA. We got 3 on Friday, and then on Monday we got 197, and then the next day we got 300 of them. So they're finally starting to trickle in, so that financial aid and scholarship packages and grant packages can start getting out. But yeah, we are definitely still open. Looking in at a good number of linemen right now that we still need some spots for. Some skilled guys. If there's a running back out there that likes to tote the rock, that's a spot that we're looking for another guy right now. And we never turn down fast guys on defense that like to hit. So, but if you're going to hit people, if you're hitting with a pillow fight, we don't want you. We want a guy that's going to come out there and ball out. So, and Coach, I know you've got a few of those guys out there that we're talking to, and we are going to keep recruiting them really, really hard. I promise you that.
I love it. I love it. I see the Munoz family tuning in from Texas. Thank you for joining us. Jimmy says, wow, I know this sounds good, Jimmy. I mean, this is a beautiful school, Coach. And I mean, come on, you guys. If I'm a parent, you have to wonder what's going to happen when you let your kid go. And you want to have the odds in your favor. And with someone like Coach Cat, you got the odds in your favor that you're going to get back a sound young man. So I appreciate you coming on tonight, Coach, and we wish you the best of luck, and we are definitely going to be funneling a bunch of kids your way.
My pleasure. It's awesome to spend time with you guys, and I want to redo that lightning round sometime. I know talking about food. I want to get that, man.
Hey, Coach, listen, man, it's a long story, man. Michael Bishop been wanting to beat up Coach T for like a year, so join the club.
I might be watching this back and timing it myself just to see what's going on there.
I'm gonna need security guards for the lightning round. Hey, we need a security guard sponsor for Coach Foot with the lightning round. All right, Coach, we love you. You have a good one. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
All right, Coach.
All right. So that is Coach Catanzaro, you guys. And Q, they're doing big things out there in the Midwest, man. Beautiful school. And shoot, I want to go back to college, dude.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, man, listen, here's one thing that we, with the shows that we've been putting out is please do not, if your parents or players are listening, please do not sleep on these small schools, man. It's some great coaches that actually care about your kids, that'll get them, opportunities, make them better men, and they're playing some damn good ball. Please don't sleep. Please don't.
And they've got money, man. Because I know they're talking to some of our athletes. So I'm talking about kids only paying maybe $5,000 or something. $6,000. Everything's covered. You're right outside of Chicago. The winters get a little cold, but beautiful, man. You buy the big city. You playing some good football. He's talking about you can play other sports. You're gonna be at a beautiful campus, man. Like I said. You can't sleep.
Don't sleep. I'm telling you, it's some good ball, man. Good opportunities, man. And like you were saying, man, you make brothers, man, for life, man. You make connections, man. Like it is. You cannot put a price tag on that. You can't.
Yeah, you can't. It's different, you guys, at the lower division schools. It's not as much pressure. You guys get to actually be students as well. And also, like Q said, you get to develop camaraderie and relationships that you're going to have the rest of your life. Instead of moving from school to school. There was a point in time, Q, that I was calling my dad trying to get out of Boulder and saying, get me the heck out of here. He said, nope, you start it, you finish it. Last year, we win a championship, something that I would have never wanted to not experience, a Big 12 championship, and I meet my wife.
Right.
So if it was today's time, I don't get the championship, and I don't know who my wife is.
Right.
It's just some things are bigger than football sometimes, you guys, or need to be weighed in the decision.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But people sleep, man. There's some talented kids, man. But again, it's, with people like Coach Cat, you can feel comfortable as a parent knowing that, man, this coach is sitting down at my kitchen table and he's going to do with my son exactly what he said he was going to do. And that's rare. You might not get that from these major D1 colleges. A lot of times you don't, because again, it's about a lot of times about money, winning, sometimes about egos or what have you, but you don't get that type of relationship in a lot of cases.
No, you get the feeling that Coach Cat welcomes all his players back, and he's got a special relationship with all of his players. And like you said, you guys, 18 years at a school. You're not going to see that at the Division I level.
Oh, no.
You are not, unless Saban just left. You're not going to see that at the Division I level.
Nah.
So you can take it to the bank. So, hey, we hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. As always, we are bringing the information that you need. We're talking about the trending topics that are going on in the football industry, all geared towards serving you and helping you. Tonight's sponsor, because we do have a sponsor from our very own in-house, is NILLLC.org. So if you are a student athlete, you don't just have to be a football player. You could be a basketball player, a track athlete, a golfer. If you know any athletes, please pass along that this spring we will be launching NILLLC, and we are going to be gaming you guys up on how to maximize everything during the NIL era. Because if you do it right, you may never have to look back. So it's the number one place to start, run, and grow your NIL business. Go to www.nillllc.org and check us out. Also, if you are in the Bay Area, the Student Athlete Playbook is dropping April 6th, you guys. This is a live in-person event with two of the people that very, very much have Before You Go Pro in the Locker Room shows back. So the great Charles Tharp, former running back, we recently had him on the show. And then the great David Watts played at Cal Berkeley. This is going to be everything. A panel, you guys, food, you get lunch, talking NIL, talking recruiting, talking mental health. So if you are in the Bay Area, this will be in the South Bay, San Jose, April 6th. You guys rock with us. I'll be there. A bunch of pro athletes, college athletes, and it's going down April 6th in San Jose. So you guys check that out. All right. So Q, anything for the good people before we get out of here, man?
No, but after the day, I would advise you to check back in, same time, same channel. We got a very, very special guest, somebody very close to me, went to war with. Man, we're gonna have a blast. That's all I can tell you. The story behind our next guest and his family, you just gotta buckle up. That's all I can tell you.
Big time football family. Big time football family. So you guys tune in next Thursday. Get your football in your life and join us for the Locker Room Show. We'll see you at the top. Have a good one.